Welcome to the Uninformed College Football Rants podcast. This is one of the arguably the biggest weeks in college football, and we have several guests. Why don't you introduce them?
Texas superfan cousin Sophia.
And?
Oh, Casey. Michigan superfan Casey.
We will begin with my rather personal bias top 10. CFP, number 1, Ohio State, just because if Michigan beats them, it'll be better. Number 2, Georgia, excellent football all year round. Number 3, Michigan. And number 4, TCU. Then we have number 5, USC. Number 6, Tennessee. Number 7, Clemson. Number 8, Washington. 9, Penn State. And 10, Alabama. Runner-ups are 11, LSU, and 12, Oregon. Your opinion?
I want Michigan to win the Ohio State game, for
Well,
sure.
we're going to get totally into that in a second.
Oh, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Casey, what do you think of that top 10?
Top 10. Can I go backwards to forwards? Can I go 10 to 1?
You can.
Yeah.
Number 10, LSU.
No, number 10 was
Number-
Alabama.
No, he's got his own 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
LSU.
Yeah. Number 10, LSU. Number 9, Utah. Number 8, K-State, Kansas State.
Really?
Number 7, Penn State.
Penn State.
Number 6, Texas. Number 5, Tennessee. Number 4, Michigan. This is going to be unpopular. Number 3, Alabama. Number 2, Georgia. And number 1, Ohio State.
We are going to get into this but we're going to have a good conversation because Casey doesn't necessarily drink the conventional wisdom Kool-Aid, right?
Nope.
No, I do not.
Okay, we're going to start by talking about USC. Last week, big win against UCLA. What are our takes?
I love USC. I think USC is just a better, well-rounded football team than UCLA. Even though he took the coach and all the football players from OU to USC, I still think they're a great football team.
Except for their defense can be a little iffy, but Corey Foreman and Eric Gentry can make big plays.
So I am a devoted Trojan, and Casey, I feel like they basically have no defense at all, and it's just a question of if they get a couple stops or turnovers, then their offense will just put up basketball points. If they beat Notre Dame and whoever they got to face in the Pac-12 championship, and they face a truly elite team, they're going to get clobbered.
Probably. Because of their defense, it's probably one of the worst defenses in the country.
What do you think?
I think that USC has a defense only because it's an NCAA rule that you must put a defense on the field. That's really there just, so the offense can rest and get back on the field. Fun fact, quarterback for USC, starting quarterback, Caleb Williams, played at Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C., where we all live. Yeah. He's great, and, I think they could outscore pretty much anybody, but if they play a team, for instance, like an SEC team that can control the ball and make them play a more physical style of football, they're going to be in trouble. But if they play a team from like the Pac-12, for instance, I think they speedboat them right off the field.
Who do you think they're going to play in the Pac-12 championship?
I have zero clue. I'm open-minded on that question.
You don't.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the divisions to say one way or the other.
Most Big Ten fans are like, who cares about the Pac-12?
So what I'd say is it's Oregon State this weekend in Corvallis, and I'm going Oregon State, so I think it's going to be Utah. Or no, not Utah, UW, Washington. Now on to our next agenda item. Who's going to win the Heisman?
Who is going to win? I think it's the Michigan quarterback that's going to win the Heisman.
Quarterback? Really? J.J. McCarthy?
I think so. I don't know why.
I mean, if he performs amazing against Ohio State, then,
Definitely, and he has a high shot of it.
Casey, who's your pick?
I agree with Sophia. I just don't think we agree on the year. I don't think J.J. McCarthy will win it this year, but he will win it. think
chance.
the USC quarterback, I mean, just
Caleb
based on
Williams
the
is
numbers, yeah.
Caleb
Yeah, I'd
Williams.
say USC quarterback.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is amazing. I think the Michigan running back, what's his name, Corum, definitely has a real chance, though.
So let's get into
He's got a chance.
Yeah, let's get into the real deal.
But before we dive into the game, Casey, I know that you're a passionate Michigan fan. What's the backstory on that?
So I actually graduated from Central Michigan University, so I'm a decent Chippewas fan. And I can tell you a fun fact about Central Michigan that most people don't know. What do J.J. Watt and the name escapes me right now, the lights out receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers for so many years, and then he went
Brown,
yes. What do they have in common?
I'm guessing they both went to Central Michigan.
They both played at Central Michigan University. That's right. J.J. Watt ended up graduating from Wisconsin, but he started his career at Central Michigan. Also, Eric Fisher for the Kansas City Chiefs, #1 overall pick, and All-Pro tackle, played at Central Michigan. My dad had season tickets to Michigan football games growing up because he worked for a local beer distributor that covered the Ann Arbor territory, and he just took me to the big house every single game from like the time I was probably 5 or 6 years old until I couldn't take it anymore in my college years. So that's how it all began. I saw Michigan play the University of Miami, and we were ahead 30-3 at halftime. And I'll never forget it because the kick returner for Miami, his name was J.C. Penney, and I just thought that was so cool. But Miami came back and beat us 31-30. I was there when Terrell Buckley picked off the first pass of the game when we played Florida State. I was there when Cordell Stewart beat us on the last play. So, yeah, I've been there.
You've seen it all, it seems. Now, on to the big one. Michigan-Ohio State. What happens there?
I mean, I do think Ohio State will beat Michigan. That's my take. I don't want that to happen, but I do think Michigan will lose to Ohio State. But that's my take on it. I'm a big Michigan fan, too, so I'm all for Michigan winning, but I just don't think.
Casey, what do you think?
I think Ohio State's got a real problem in this one. Michigan averages almost 6 yards a carry on the ground. Ohio State gives up only 3 on the ground, but if you've seen Ohio State lose over the last 3 or 4 seasons or 5 seasons, they always have trouble with teams that can control the ball and control the middle of the field. That's why Michigan did so well against them last year, and this year, this is the thing I think is the X factor for Michigan. McCarthy has not been able to hit the long ball much this year. He's just been a little bit off all year long, and if he hits 1 or 2 of those because he's not hitting it because he doesn't have the arm. I mean, the kid's got one of the best arms we've ever seen at Michigan. So if he can hit 1 or 2 of those over the top, totally changes the game, and it's going to be a problem for Ohio State. For Ohio State, the key is they've got the great quarterback. Can they get the ball over the top on us? That's been our weakness on defense all year. So I just think that Ohio State has more weaknesses than Michigan, and I think Michigan wins probably a close game.
How do you think your defensive secondary is going to hold up against the onslaught?
Yeah, that's going to be the key defensively for Michigan. I think they're going to give up some plays. I'm betting that the strategy for the defense is going to be to try to keep the ball in front of them. Nothing over the top, no deep, nothing over the safety. So I think Michigan's going to try to make this kid, be high percentage and beat him over the middle, and not let him beat him over the top. And then they're going to be selective with their blitzes. So got to keep them guessing. That's the key.
Yeah, so I think the secondary, it's going to be very bend but don't break. Now, my take on the game, it's time for my big rant. So, Blake Corum is averaging 150, 200 yards a game. Last year, Ohio State had no run defense, and Hassan Haskins ran for 200 and something yards. So what I think is going to happen this year is Blake Corum is going to do the exact same thing as Hassan Haskins. The defensive secondary isn't going to fall apart. And I think it's going to be an even bigger win than last year, for the reason is that last year C.J. Stroud was an amazing quarterback because he had Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and Olave and Wilson both left, but and now they have new receivers, of course, but I don't think that they have that experience. I think they're going to drop a few big passes, and I think Michigan's going to win this one.
So, Casey, last year, in the fourth quarter, when it was snowing and they were just dominating, I started to get like misty-eyed, like choked up with like little watery tears of joy. And my Jack was looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" But I was like so relieved and joyful that like the long-awaited for SmackDown finally occurred. So my heart is with Michigan. I just think Ohio State is very formidable. We'll see.
I mean, they're not a cream puff, that's for sure. I mean, they've got tons of talent. So yeah, I mean,
we also don't like Ryan Day.
Yeah,
he irritates us for reasons we can't put our finger on.
He's irritating.
Maybe it's all the screaming and yelling he does at referees and other coaches and just the general, born on third base type of thing. I mean, like, Urban Meyer built the program and then he just took it over. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
We're gonna we'll save you our 3 to 4 minute rant concerning Urban Meyer's personal judgment. That's a whole separate thing that we don't have time for. What's next on our agenda?
It's last picks. So for our first game, Notre Dame USC. Who wins? USC. USC?
I don't know. I don't want to jinx them.
Casey, Notre Dame or USC?
Notre Dame's going to turn into a fist fight in a phone booth. Notre Dame.
You know what? I'm going to go USC 45-38.
If it's the Notre Dame that lost to Marshall, then USC. Right. If it's the Notre Dame that just destroyed Clemson
by 21,
then it's going to be tough for my Trojans.
Okay, on to our next pick. This is the big one. Michigan, Ohio State.
I say Ohio State, but I do agree with everyone else that it'll be a really, really close game.
Go blue.
Casey?
Michigan.
You know what? This is going to be pretty shocking, but I'm going to go Michigan 41-21.
You better ask about Oregon State.
Yeah.
So I care. I'm all for Oregon State. I want Oregon State to win.
I'll say the same thing. That is it for this week. We will be back for the conference championships. Go Blue!